From this video, you will get tips to prepare for DP-700 implementing data engineering solutions using Microsoft Fabric exam. What is DP-700 implementing data engineering solutions using Microsoft Fabric exam? Skills measured in the DP-700 exam. Topic 1. Implement and manage an analytics solution. Topic 2. Ingest and transform data. Topic 3. Monitor and optimize an analytics solution. Best practices for exam preparation. One. You have a Fabric workspace named Workspace 1. You plan to integrate Workspace 1 with Azure DevOps. You will use a Fabric deployment pipeline named Deploy Pipeline 1 to deploy items from Workspace 1 to higher environment workspaces as part of a medallion architecture. You will run Deploy Pipeline 1 by using an API call from an Azure DevOps pipeline. You need to configure API authentication between Azure DevOps and Fabric. Which type of authentication should you use? A. Service Principal. B. Microsoft Entra username and password. C. Managed private endpoint. D. Workspace identity. Answer: A. 2. You have a Fabric workspace named Workspace 1 that contains a notebook named Notebook 1. In Workspace 1, you create a new notebook named Notebook 2. You need to ensure that you can attach Notebook 2 to the same Apache Spark session as Notebook 1. What should you do? A. Enable high concurrency for notebooks. B. Enable dynamic allocation for the Spark pool. C. Change the runtime version. D. Increase the number of executors. Answer: A. 3. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a warehouse named Warehouse 1. You have an on-premises Microsoft SQL Server database named Database 1 that is accessed by using an on-premises data gateway. You need to copy data from Database 1 to Warehouse 1. Which item should you use? A. An Apache Spark job definition. B. A data pipeline. C. A Dataflow Gen 1 dataflow. D. An event stream. Answer: B. 4. You have a Fabric capacity that contains a workspace named Workspace 1. Workspace 1 contains a lakehouse named Lakehouse 1, a data pipeline, a notebook, and several Microsoft Power BI reports. A user named User1 wants to use SQL to analyze the data in Lakehouse 1. You need to configure access for User1. The solution must meet the following requirements. What should you do? A. Share Lakehouse 1 with User1 directly and select Read All SQL Endpoint Data. B. Assign User1 the viewer role for Workspace 1. Share Lakehouse 1 with User1 and select Read All SQL Endpoint Data. C. Share Lakehouse 1 with User1 directly and select Build Reports on the default semantic model. D. Assign user 1 the member role for workspace 1. Share Lakehouse 1 with user 1 and select Read all SQL endpoint data. Answer: B. 5. You have a Fabric workspace named Workspace 1 that contains an Apache Spark job definition named Job 1. You have an Azure SQL database named Source 1 that has public internet access disabled. You need to ensure that Job 1 can access the data in Source 1. What should you create? A.an on-premises data gateway. B. A managed private endpoint. C.an integration runtime. D. A data management gateway. Answer: B. 6. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a lakehouse named Lakehouse 1. In an external data source, you have data files that are 500 gigabytes each. A new file is added every day. You need to ingest the data into Lakehouse 1 without applying any transformations. The solution must meet the following requirements: trigger the process when a new file is added. Provide the highest throughput. Which type of item should you use to ingest the data? A. Data pipeline. B. Environment. C. KQL query set. D. Dataflow Gen 2. Answer: A. 7. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a warehouse named Warehouse 1. Data is loaded daily into Warehouse 1 by using data pipelines and stored procedures. You discover that the daily data load takes longer than expected. You need to monitor Warehouse 1 to identify the names of users that are actively running queries. Which view should you use? asys.dm_exec_connections. B. sys.dm_exec_requests. C. Query insights. Long_running_queries. D. Query insights. Frequently_run_queries. esys.dm_exec_sessions. Answer: E. 8. You have a Fabric workspace. You have semi-structured data. You need to read the data by using T-SQL, KQL, and Apache Spark. The data will only be written by using Spark. What should you use to store the data? A. A lakehouse. B. An event house. C. A data mart. D. A warehouse. Answer: A. 9. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a warehouse named Warehouse 1. You have an on-premises Microsoft SQL Server database named Database 1 that is accessed by using an on-premises data gateway. You need to copy data from Database 1 to Warehouse 1. Which item should you use? A. A Dataflow Gen 1 dataflow. B. A data pipeline. C. A KQL query set. D. A notebook. Answer: B. 10. You have a Fabric warehouse named DW1. DW1 contains a table that stores sales data and is used by multiple sales representatives. You plan to implement row-level security, RLS. You need to ensure that the sales representatives can see only their respective data. Which warehouse object do you require to implement RLS? A. Stored procedure. B. Constraint. C. Schema. D. Function. Answer: D. Subscribe and like past question.